Hello, everybody. This is Victor here from Trend Following Trading for Beginners, and here's my weekly update on my sample trading portfolio coming up next. Hiya. What a week. Now, Hong Kong, which I ranted about last week in my update, has an election. It was a landslide for pro-democracy candidates. I think 90%, basically, the pro-democracy group take about 91% or something very close, let's say 90%. And then the pro-government only take like 10% of the seat. There's a lot of things going to happen next then. Hong Kong the Hong Kong people and the government or local council need to sit down and think about what that means. But one thing though, there's not too many large-scale demonstrations now. There's still some, but not as bad and violence, throwing stones and everything else as bad as before. So I hope slowly things calm down. But having said that, Donald Trump seems to throw a grenade into the works, so to speak, and signed basically the democracy rule, isn't it? And I think that was on Wednesday. And then very quickly, the Hong Kong index dropped like 500 plus points because China basically responded, quite aggressively. So there's consequences, quite a possible strong retaliation from China. At the moment, we haven't seen anything yet. I mean, news from Hong Kong is people expecting some form of verbal or some action coming out soon, but we don't quite know. So I think everybody was quite panicky last Friday. So the Hong Kong index basically went down big time, and that continued basically the theme for the last couple of weeks in the Hong Kong index trading. It has been more or less like up and down, up and down, up and down. Yeah, you make some money and then you lose some money, make some money, lose some money. So this is the type of things that trend following trading fails, so to speak, because all this up down, like more trying in a channel trading. With volatility, things moving, hundreds of points at a time. You saw what we call in the industry called whipsaw. Basically, you get, stop out, lose some money, stop out again, lose some money. And this is the type of things that, as a trend follower, the sort of thing you need to expect, is kind of things like, the string of losses. This is what's going to happen in a channel trade. But for people who trade in channels, up and down, between the upper, the ceiling and the bottom resistance, people will make quite a bit of money, within the channel. And so unfortunately, trend following doesn't do that, because one of these ups and down bounds within the channel will either go down or go up. Basically, the market can only go three ways as far as I'm going to understand. An uptrend, downtrend, or sideways trend. Most of the time, it's a sideways trend. In a bigger picture of things, big trend up or down is maybe a third, maybe less than 20% of the time. But the problem is we don't know when this is going to happen. So as part of trend following, you just basically just follow your signals, your whatever system you have. And your signal say go and sell, and then you sell and say buy, just buy, because you never know from one of these signal there might be a breakout. And if you lash on, or you forgot because you feel it's not going to happen, no big trend because it goes sideways and you bet your dollars on it, and you or otherwise or also you're busy like right now you got the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all the sales going on, you forgot to watch out the signals, boom, and it's always happen. Things change when you least expect it. And that's the kind of thing the trend following try to catch. But whatever system you have is really rely on you as a person to basically watch out the signals. If it happens, if you change direction, whatever, you just act like a robot and trade that way, rather than say get sidetracked by life, so to speak, life event and stuff. So so Hong Kong index, which I'll get some updates later on, which just up and down is quite challenging. And then of course I think yesterday You might heard some news about people got stabbed. 2 people died in London Bridge in London, and just it's so sad. This kind of things happen, and I think the stabbing also happened somewhere in Europe, in Hague somewhere, and it's like it feels a bit like coordinated or something. I hope it's just coincidence, but it's just sad. So a lot of us is shopping around, but a lot of people also get hurt as well. So my hearts go out to those people who died and got hurt over the weekend. The other thing is, like I said before, this basically the Black Friday sales kind of things, and then you look at Amazon charts. It's just last week I say watch out. It's still sort of going sideways and under the 200-day moving average line, and then it's like what the hell's going on? And my some reflection onto the general market. But for the last week or so, we just gone straight up. But on Friday, there are some things happen. Now I'm going to post a little bit of my message onto my Facebook page, on a Trend Following Trading Academy Facebook page. But I'm going to say a bit over here. The problem here is, I think this is exactly what happened in Hong Kong index as well about a couple of weeks back. You get this share price trying to break out from the 200-day moving average and try to go higher. But then when it does, immediately the next day there's a big downtrend bar coming down. Now this has nothing to do with trend following. The trend following say is still up at the moment because the price has been basically moved up the last week or so. But this up and down bar, I've seen it so many times. It's an indicator here that it could possibly change the direction. So I hope I'm wrong. As far as trend following point of view, this is like, I'm sticking in my system say buy, so I go in and buy. But when I look at things, a bar chart like this, one chart up, one bar going up, immediately the next day, the bar coming down, more or less the same level, same size bar. It's basically, I call it a railway track. So it's one going up, one going down. It does in reverse as well. So if effectively it does, to me, it's more like a signal to say something is moving to the opposite direction. We've seen that in Hong Kong index about 2 weeks or so back, there's more than that, about a month back, early November, and there's a big drop coming down on Hong Kong index. So I hope I'm wrong, but just something I just watch out and found on the chart. It looks a bit funny. McDonald's, as before, is still going sideways, so I don't know what's going on with McDonald's. I saw everybody likes burger and chips around the world, but it's not doing that well. Okay. Then obviously the other thing around this week is the Donald Trump impeachment, but then I think that got taken over by the Donald Trump signed the law to pro-democracy laws against China based on the Hong Kong demonstration and stuff. So that is the type of things happening. Now, below this, all this, nobody's talk about the repo rate, the repo continuing. Basically, the lending between the banks in overnight. I think the Fed is continue pumping 130 billions into the market per night or something. Nobody suddenly talk about this at all. It was a bit on news a couple of weeks ago, and probably a couple of months ago. And then the balance sheets and in U.S. budget is going back. I think it was down to, from the height of the 4.5 trillion, came back down to 3.5 trillion when they do the tightening, and then recently, about last couple of months, because repo rate coming back up or near the 4 mark again, or 3, very close to the 4 mark again, 4 trillion mark. So basically the government is pumping money into the system. People might not call it quantitative easing anymore, but just the works is still the same. And basically pumping money into the system, buying, as far as the Fed is talking about, is buying short-term loans or something. Okay, so my skew, there's the what you call 10 years, 20, 2 years and 10-year yields inversion, things like that. But this time is more like, instead of the investor think there's problem in the market, the Federal Reserve coming in is more like a man-make, more than man-make is the government make coming in and basically do something about the invert curve and invert yield curve, and then try to tell people that no, everything is fine now, everything is all right. But the problem is, if everything is all right, I'm just asking a very simple, basic question. Nobody can explain to me, like a 5 years old, why, if everything is okay, why the Federal Reserve still pumping money into the financial system. The banks will have enough money to cover each other, lend to each other and cover is overnight borrowing. The Federal Reserve is a bank of last resort. So why is the Fed coming out to help the banks? We were told it's only a temporary measure, but now it's going to be first quarter of next year, maybe longer. So somebody's telling Porky. I mean, I'm a retail part-time investor. Just I don't know the ins and outs about the financial systems in America, but this is a simple question people should ask: where's all this money gone to? All this repo rate, and if the banks are in problem lending money to each other, what are they holding? Are they holding some toxic properties, instruments again that cannot be rated? It's very illiquid, and they just don't want to tell people, show their hands, playing poker or kind of thing. Don't want to show people's hand what they're actually holding, a bags of spelly thing, so to speak, like back in 2007, 2008. It might be conspiracy theory, but just like a bit worrying. That's nobody really talking about now, and after about a month, that kind of stuff. So watch out, okay? So there could be something going to happen. And okay, so here is the update now. And basically just switch back and just just go to the update. So Apple is same as before, across the board is continuing going up. So it looks very much like the Dow Jones and Nasdaq in particular. It's more or less going up. I think it's all because Apple. If Apple continued to go this way, the Dow Jones index and Nasdaq just continue. It just smells funny for me. People, I mean, the Fed is pumping money into the financial system, like I said before, the repo rate. Apple is continuing to go up, and then it's like you have U.S. and China having a trade talk. Okay, it's not the last bit of the tariffs, not really hammering Apple yet. Whatever Apple's relationship with the government, Donald Trump, whatever. It not seems to force the last bit of the tariff onto the general public yet in U.S. So unless the 15th of December, Donald Trump going to sign extra 5 or 10% tariffs on top of the 25% that already on with the Chinese goods, and we might continue to see Apple's going up, and what makes you wonder if Apple's and Dow Jones and Nasdaq continue to go up so much already. We go to see a Santa Claus rally this year. I mean, last year we didn't really see much. It's quite a big of big downturn. This year seems to have come early. So what's going to happen in December? Is this continue to go up, or just going to flatline, or come down? I have no idea. Next is Australian dollar against the US dollar. Basically, okay, sorry, what about this? This Amazon, after Apple is Amazon. So the Amazon, like I said before, is fluctuating. Before it's more neutral in the sell, but this week suddenly the short term is a buy, and then medium term the S2 system is neutral, but long term system is neutral because it tried, like I said before, it tried to break. The price tried to break above the 200 days moving average by having problems and come straight back down on Friday. So Thursday going up, broke the 200 days moving average, but Friday comes straight back down again. And so sort of like a danger signal to me. But as far as the trading is concerned, long term is just neutral because my system say you have to stay above the 200-day moving average a couple of days before actually going to buy. So that's that. So again, okay, going back to Australian dollar and USD dollar. Short term is a sell, medium term is neutral, long term is also sell. So no change there since last week. Crude oil, basically the Brent crude and the WTI, the US crude oil. Short term is a buy. Medium term is neutral. Long term is also neutral. But you see some fluctuation going around, especially Friday, the 29th of Friday just passed. It gone down like $2 or something. I think it's all because of the retaliation or the thing that China is talking about, saying not very happy with what the U.S. signed the law with the democracy law against Hong Kong demonstration democracy movement. So I think people would be worried on that. So there's a bit of fluctuation there. DAX continues upward trend, just like Apple. We just continue going up. So across the board, short, medium, long term is a buy. Dow Jones, I said before, so long as Apple's continue to be long and going up, Dow Jones seems to be doing the same trick. So Dow Jones, short term, medium term, long term is all going up. FTSE is sort of changed slightly from last week. All short, medium, long term is a buy. So it's just done that last couple of days, so to speak. The medium term and long term, it just gone up. So finger crossed. Hopefully there was some more momentum there, and we see how it goes. But bearing in mind we got December 12th election coming on, maybe the market just think there's a good chance of a majority with the Conservative. I hope so, but I don't know what will gonna happen. I have no crystal ball, so for me, I'm really watching out this next couple of weeks to see how things turns out. Gold is basically a sell short term and neutral, medium, and long term. So nothing changed in last week. Hang Seng Index, like I said before, it's quite a bit of fluctuation there. Short term is still a sell. Medium term is a neutral. Long term is once again a sell. So I think it's more like the 500 plus point last Friday really just moved the market a bit. So short term go from buy, boom, straight back down. Well, buy from last week, going back down to sell this week, and also sell basically again for the 200-day moving average, the long term system there, because it was sort of like a neutral in the middle of the week and then go straight back down because it's large 500 plus point gap. So watch out for volatility there. Nasdaq, a bit like Dow Jones. So across the board is a buy. So short, medium, long, and long term are all buy. Nikkei, okay, short term continue to be a sell. So that's happening last week. Medium and long term still a buy. So basically doing a side trend trade at the moment, moving sideways after it's making all-time high, just like the rest of the index. But I remember this one seems to have this, and the European index seems to have lead the way more or less and going up. So now the US markets follow suit. So we see how it goes. Maybe Nikkei is telling us basically the music may about to correct a little bit. Who knows? Just watch out. Next is basically silver, very similar to, I think, exactly same as gold. Short term is sell, medium long term is just neutral. So nothing much happening here. One thing I need to make a point though, it's quite funny. This is how trend following is going to be. The market, the main major indices from US is all going up, okay, making new highs. You have thought gold and silver is going to tank big time. But it's not. It just basically come down quite a bit, and then for last 2-3 months just sideways trade. It just stay there. Doesn't matter if US index is making new high, just going sideways. So something is popping up. So something is not quite right. So as far as your trend following is concerned, your system say it's a sell for gold and silver. Short term, long and medium term is neutral. Standard side. Okay, fine. Okay, that's just what I do, but it's just not same as what we thought might gonna happen. So the market, whatever the price, does, you just put in your own system, do your calculations, and it come up to that end and give you the signal. So basically, just follow the rules. So in here, this is a good example. You think the market is going down, but the market is not doing that, and you put into the equation after some number crunching, it say, it's a small sell, only the rest just stand aside. So what you gotta do? Are you going to bet against your system? For me, I found this to be oxymoron, being silly to actually do that. So I say no, just stick with the system and follow the system. So gold and silver basically sell short term in the moment. Next is the Chinese yuan, US dollar against the Chinese yuan. This one is basically it has Short term is a buy, medium term is a sell, long term is neutral. One thing though, you see that if the US dollar index go up, basically the US dollar can buy more Chinese yuan. Then you can see that chart basically just continue to go up. So I would say that what you call continue, so long US dollar continue to be strong, the Chinese yuan is just going to weaken, and then Chinese government, I think, just go let it, to weaken. People has been saying the Chinese government, especially U.S. Congress, and say, even Donald Trump now comes out saying that China is currency manipulator. It did, but to the advantage to the rest of the world, especially to the U.S. Basically, it doesn't want the dollar, the dollar against Chinese yuan to depreciate too much, so it's trying to pop it up. That's what is all people know about this in Asia. It's like an open book, it's open secret, everybody knows about it. But now because the U.S. really step on China on the trade quite a bit and using also different tactics, China just say, okay, fine, that's what you want, fine, just let the market do whatever you think. So before, instead of coming in supporting the Chinese yuan, you say, okay, I'm not supporting anymore, let it fall. So the more the US dollar index is going up, the more the Chinese yuan is going to weaken, the more it's going to basically make American goods more expensive selling into China. So yeah, it just basically playing the political games in there. So we see how it goes. And the next is USD again against the Japanese yen. It's buy across the board. So short, medium, and long term is all buy. One thing though, the USD against the Japanese yen, what I have found so far is it's slowly doing a rising wedge pattern. But as far as trend following concerned, we don't care. We just see the price still above the whatever your system says, the stop loss is not touched, and just continue. But the chart pattern is showing you some indicator. So here's another thing about trend following. Your system tells you what to do, but there's indication from the charts. So remember, the first thing is the price. The price, you put through the equation of your system. Basically give you a signal, and then you go in and buy and sell or not. But that also, this price slowly over time creates some sort of chart patterns in the chart. So people, if you just do a technical analysis, just look at charts, we will say, okay, there's a rising wedge here, just watch out. But how long is this rising wedge? That's another thing. Technical analysis doesn't tell you how long this wedge is going. Especially remember, underneath this charting pattern is trading human emotion. Human emotion can go extended both ways. Extreme high, extreme low. Okay, our emotion can go both ways like that. So at the moment, the market on USD against Japanese yen is say, okay, US dollar is strong, Japanese yen is down, it's weakening, so it's Chinese yuan, and that's what is actually happening. So are you going to stand in front of the market, like stand in front of the bus? No, you stand aside. Either you stay with the bus, get on the bus, or just stand aside. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, it's still a buy, but there's indication now, just like Amazon. There's something showing in the chart that tells you, hey, there might be something happening. So watch on that one. Next is obviously the Great British Pound against Japanese yen and British Pound against US dollar. More or less continuation of last month or two. Excuse me. Basically just going sideways. And what's happening there is a sideways trade, and but I think the pound has been quite strengthened the last few days again. So it's basically still a sideways trade, waiting to breaking above this channel. But I think most likely what's happening is what I've seen it so far is the British pound against Japanese yen seems to have is leading the British pound against the US dollar, and it's sort of going very near the top of this channel trading range. So just watch out. It might very likely, if the election in UK is turned out to be positive for the Conservative, this is going to move. Now I don't know that, I'm just guessing. I have no crystal ball. Or the other side, if the Labour comes out, there's a hung parliament. Nobody get a majority. Well, Well, all bets off. The price might come straight back down, so I don't quite know. So this couple of weeks really important for me to basically look at and kind of stuff like that. Okay, so this is how it is going on. Next is Bitcoin. The next bit is basically the last in the section. Basically, is a sell for short term. Medium term is neutral. Long term is a sell. This I said last week was a bit of a, well, it's not eye opener. It has been. I've been watching it on the side. It is sort of a downtrend for a while now. I mean the Turtle S2 medium term system make quite a bit of money early in the year, but now basically stay neutral because the price just slowly coming down. So as far as I'm concerned, from the long term system says it's a sell territory now. So long as if it's not stay above the 200-day moving average, then we're basically selling the strength. So basically that is it. So that's the end of the update for this week, and I hope you like this. And watch out for the next couple of weeks. It's just especially for me anyway. In UK, I saw this election going on. So next couple of weeks will be, for me, I just watch out the first C and then the British pounds and see how it goes. And await some news from China to rebutting what U.S. have done last week, signing into law this 2 democracy bill against the Hong Kong Chinese. So at this juncture, I say bye-bye, and I speak to you soon. Next time, I see you then. Bye.